Hey, good Wednesday morning, everybody. It is July 24th, and I'm Chris Allen right here on the SAM channel, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X, all sponsored by Ace Hardware Marketplace. Well, we're starting out in the 70s and cloudy again this morning. A picture much like we've seen the last few days, cloudy on the Plano cam, cloudy, misty at times. And other times, especially if you live east of Bowling Green, east of Interstate 65, it's even a little rainy. But the rains have tapered off here in Bowling Green for the most part. There's a look from downtown. We've got a lot of haze and a lot of fog this morning. It's not real thick until you get near bodies of water, and then it becomes a bit thicker. But look out for some haze and fog this morning as you head off to work. Speaking of that, traffic wise and all of that, here's a look down Scottsville Road from Interstate 65 and, of course, the Wingate camera. And you can look all the way into downtown, almost into downtown, but because of the haze and the fog, you can't see downtown. You can see the Independence Bank Tower right there next to the airport. But that's it. I mean, that's as far as you can see. You can see a tree line, but other than that, it's a really kind of a foggy, misty, hazy morning. And it will remain so. The day will remain so as we go through because it's just that very stagnant air mass. There's not a lot of mixing going on in the atmosphere. Winds are not coming down and hitting the ground and stirring things up until we have rain or a thunderstorm that helps those pockets of lifted air collapse. And then you get a gust of wind and then you get some heavy rain. Some of you saw that yesterday, which you'll see soon on the Kentucky Mesonet data that I'll show you here momentarily. Where's the rain this morning? Well, it's primarily south and east of the Bowling Green area. Here's a look at radar. And yeah, we've had a little bit of shower activity here in Bowling Green this morning, but most of it now very light east of Tompkinsville over towards Somerset. The Cumberland Plateau is what we call this. And then all the way down Nashville, Murfreesboro, Shelbyville, a few spotty showers back here northwestern Tennessee, Boot Hill, Missouri, eastern Arkansas, probably where we're seeing the cloud cover. Yes, there it is. A little bit of a break here, allowing some pop-up showers to materialize because of already some daytime heating. And you got to keep in mind that the relative humidity is right at 100%. In other words, we've got dew point temperatures and air temperatures almost exactly the same. And in some cases, it is the same, and that is what helps saturate the atmosphere. Right now, the atmosphere is about as saturated as it's going to get. It can't hold any more water, so it just comes down. All it needs is a little trigger. It could be the sun. It could be an old boundary. It could be some orographic lift once you get in a higher elevation. It could be any of those things. Temperature even could be a trigger. So, yeah, haze, fog, and clouds all with us on this Wednesday morning. So there you go. It's going to be like that all day, even though there may be times, like we've seen in the last few days, when a little bit of sun will try to come through, but all that will do is stir up a little more energy and a few more showers later today. I think most of the shower, excuse me, and you can tell this weather's doing a number on my congestion, as it is with some of you. But most of the activity, I think, will be in the afternoon with a little daytime heating. Right now, it's still pretty stable. Here's a look at temperatures across the Kentucky Mesonet network and about where we've been The last several mornings right at 71, 72. So let's check the dew points. 71, 72. There's a 69, 69, 68. But you know what this means? This means we have right at 100% relative humidity. You want me to prove it to you? Look, this is relative humidity. In other words, the dew point temperature and the air temperature are pretty much the same. And where you have it the same, you go 90 or close to the same, 95, 97, 98, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100%. Pretty much the atmosphere is full. It can hold no more water. Speaking of water, last 24 hours, the big winner out of all of these places was Ohio County, Hartford, 2.37 inches of rain in that 24-hour period, mostly yesterday afternoon, as we had some cells just kind of rain themselves out right over that same area. Everybody else just got less than 1/10 of an inch, pretty much. One exception here that I'm seeing, that would be Cumberland County, Burkesville, a little bit over 1/4 inch, almost 1/3 of an inch of rain yesterday. Winds are out of the south, 3 to 5, with occasionally you may get something 5 to 10, but not much more than that. The air is pretty stiff out there this morning, and it's going to be very stiff, very stagnant. I don't really see a whole lot of movement in the wind today unless you happen to get one of those showers like we've seen over the last few days. Here's a look at the model blender, and again, it's going to show us just how it's going to stay stagnant as far as temperatures. Excuse me, right now, mid 80s. There might be an upper 80s there, but every day this model blend comes out, and you got to keep in mind, the model blender takes in the primary models, about a dozen of them, and it whips them up just like you'd throw them in a blender and mix them up. This is the outcome or the average output of all those models. Some models are going to be right. Some models are going to be wrong. Some models are going to be in between. And some models are going to be so far off base that it throws this out of whack. But what we're seeing generally is a trend of gradually, slowly getting a little warmer as we head into next week. But those low 90s, as I've said here, if you've watched me the last few days, I've been saying those low 90s, that is exactly where we're supposed to be for the end of July, the beginning of August. So these are not out of whack. What's been out of whack, or an anomaly, we call it, is the lack of warm air and all these 80s, which have been running well below average for this time of the year. And all this rain is just very unusual for mid to late July, the beginning of August, to have this much rain and to be in the 80s instead of the 90s. But you know what? That's all right. I mean, it's all right by me. I don't know about you guys, but I like it. I love it. And I want some more of it, as Tim McGraw said. All right, here's a look at the maps. And we see the stalled boundary still just kind of hanging around here. It's starting to break apart, but there's still enough instability and a lot of moisture to cause a shower any place, anytime, but more so during the afternoon and evening because of the high moisture content. There's nothing really to push this stuff out of the way. It just sits here. And all it takes, like I said, is a trigger, and that would be the sun. That would be an old boundary. That would be temperature. It doesn't take much to cause some showers to pop up. And when they do, some of them, like we've seen, like yesterday up in Ohio County, they can be gully washers. Here's this afternoon, this evening, into Thursday morning, more fog and more shower activity, primarily east of Interstate 65. Thursday morning, here comes the secondary front, which I've talked about the last couple of days, has been coming southward, with this one kind of washing out, or stalling out. Actually, it just kind of washes out, really. But the squeeze play between the two and this dirty high helps enhance the rainfall. So we could find maybe some heavier downpours on Thursday until we get into Thursday evening. Friday, the front starts to sag a little further southward. That will interject a little bit of dry air. Not a lot, just a little. But then we're still not done with the rain chances. Here we go into Saturday. The front wobbles back to the north. Now, this is the same thing that happened last weekend. We had the front coming down, and then it started to retreat or retrograde back to the north. Then it stalls. Then there's rain that forms across that boundary. Here we go from Saturday into Sunday, rainy. Monday, rainy. Tuesday, rainy. See what I mean? See what I mean, Vern? Mm-hmm. That's why I'm saying it may tease you just a little that the rain's going to back off. It's like, oh, okay, we get a little break. No, we may get a little break, but then it's all going to come back toward the beginning of next week. So it's just going to keep coming, and therefore the clouds and the rain's going to keep our temperatures down, mainly in the 80s, although as you saw in the blender, we could start to see some low 90s, but that's normal. Nothing too hot, nothing too cold. All right. Thanks to everybody watching this morning. And as always, God bless you and have a great Wednesday.